Let your curiosity rise.
Mad Bricks webcast,
Where the human spirit flies. Mad Bricks webcast, where the human spirit flies.
Hey, welcome to the Mad Bricks webcast. That my intro wakes up everybody, if they are sleepy. So that's good idea. So strong music. Thank you for joining us. This is Ramana Namaraju. I'm the host. I love to see physician entrepreneurs, particularly 3 women physician entrepreneurs, and is a really is a great thing to do. See, actually, to watch. So this is an extraordinary for 3 women physician entrepreneurs. They are it's called a Golden State Obesity Society. They formed a organization to address the obesity, mental health, and the lifestyle itself. So we're going to listen from one of the pioneering women in this area. Okay. So before that, last night I went to actually a party. It's called a longevity party, ageless party. That's a Nick Larson. Thank you, Nick, for inviting me. There is a Dr. Eagleman. He's one of the scholar in neuroscience, and he's a he's a very powerful guy in the neuroscience industry. He is talking about very interesting thing in the AI and the cross section of all those things. But we don't know what's going on. But he thinks that humans are much more powerful. We need a human interference. Susan always talks about human things is important. So the doctors are irreplaceable in that direction. Let me bring my podcast co-host, good friend of mine, better looking, better talking, and beautiful and brainy, Dr. Susan Davis. Let me bring her to the table. Dr. Davis, welcome.
Hi,
We have
Ramana.
how to survive 4 women today. That's
Yeah, watch
you
out.
know
All
I,
entrepreneurs, all founders, all clinicians. Yeah, you're outnumbered for
yeah,
sure.
you're on the wrong crowd right now. I was telling this a couple of minutes ago, Susan and I went to the longevity party. They wanted to extend lives. What do you think of? You think we can control the longevity part of it? We become eventually 150 years we can live.
Well, I say bring it, and I'll take an extra jug, please, or a vat thereof. I'm in it. I really appreciate the learning about it, and I like the name of their party. That must have been fun. So I wish I'd been a fly on the wall because there's so much going on with longevity medicine. And I think the 3 ladies that are here tonight, these 3 physicians are right on the cutting edge of learning about that as well. So I look forward. I'm all about it.
Yeah. So then after that, of our time, I wanted to present this topic. All of you may like it. Actually, the topic is interesting. Is actually can give you some ideas to expand their Golden State Obesity Society. The presentation I'm going to do, very short presentation, but let me introduce you. One of the I'm very fortunate. I'm fortunate enough to meet all of them in person, and in the last time with the Roger Royce function up there in the San Francisco city, and. Dr. Meenu Vaid, she has been on my podcast. All of them, actually, no, except Nalawadi. Everybody is on my podcast. Shagun Bindlish came on before. So let me introduce you the wonderful people. The founder of the Golden State Obesity Society, Dr. Shagun Bindlish. She's a diabetologist. She is a very well experienced. She speaks really well organized thoughts. She wrote me some nice email how explaining how beautiful the Golden State Obesity Society. We will connect all the dots. This is I'm a polymath. I love polymaths. Connecting the dots, lifestyle, obesity, mental health, all of them are at the end, the core of the day. Those are do you agree, Susan? At the end of the day, all of them are connected in that sense.
Yes. Oh, they have so many overlapping skills and talents, and it's amazing how diverse their backgrounds are, and yet they come together for this very common cause. That's really something that we deal with everywhere, right? It's not just California.
Okay. Let me introduce Dr. Bindlish, Dr. Shagun Bindlish, diabetologist. Welcome to the MedBix webcast. Welcome back.
Thank you. Thank you, Ramna, and thank you, Dr. Susan. It's so a pleasure to meet you. And once again, we are so honored to be here again together with our Vice President Smruti and Treasurer and Board Member Meenu. I'm so glad that that you gave us such a bright introduction, and definitely it is such a great honor for us to be here. A little bit about me, a short story. I'm I've been practicing in Bay Area for almost like 10 years, but have been in practice for more than 15 years now, and did a very unique fellowship initially, which was not known to people. It's called diabetology, which not a endocrinology. And till now, people ask me why diabetology, not endocrinology. And then I basically connected the dot. Like you mentioned, that was my initial pitch, which I started, is to connect the dots. And I did the obesity medicine and the lifestyle medicine. And now I feel like dots are still there, like longevity medicine is getting added to that. And we are all, and that's the reason we will talk about our origin of our nonprofit, which is Golden State Obesity Society.
Let me introduce you the partners in crime for her, Dr. Meenu Vaid. She's a good friend of mine, and she came on the podcast several times, a couple of times. I've been familiar with her. She is really educated me in so many ways, and she eloquently with the cultural background, with the Indian cultural background. So I also learned a lot from her. Welcome, Dr. Meenu Vaid. She's a addiction health specialist. Hello, tell us a little bit about you, Dr. Vaid.
Well, they say third time's a charm, Ramana. This is my third time on your webinar.
Absolutely, welcome.
It looks like you've added a co-host. I didn't even realize. We were talking in the back room. It was nice to get to know her a little bit.
Yeah.
Yes.
I am a technology and healthcare a little bit, but not. I'm a doctor acting on the TV, not a real doctor. So she is a real doctor, so she can help me.
That's great. At least so then she'll help kind of decipher some of the things. Sometimes we tend to forget to use layman's terms, and that would be great to have that. I think we've talked about myself a little bit for the last 2 times. I do addiction medicine, infectious diseases as well. My background is in corrections for about 15 years now. I also have my own private clinic here in Morgan Hill for addiction medicine. I have 3 kids. I'm married. A lot of fun. I like to do stand-up comedy. I don't know. What else can I add this time to talk about?
That's
You're on the hook for a joke there, stand up.
Oh, no.
Meenu, you forgot to mention that you are such an important part of GSOS.
Yeah.
That is your identity now.
Yes, I am the treasurer for Golden State. I'm the one who handles the money. So
Oh, that's good.
I'm hoping by the end of this webinar, I get you guys to join us.
Yeah, absolutely. So then next, let me that is Dr. Nalawadi. I met her in person, but I don't think that I never. She never been on my podcast, but welcome, Dr. Nalawadi. She's a lifestyle medicine. This is a very gaining big momentum in the world right now. Lifestyle medicine. Welcome, Dr. Nalawadi. Welcome to the MedBix webcast.
Thank you, Ravna, for having me. And Suzanne, it's great to see you. And looks like I joined at the right time, right? So yes, I'm from Bangalore, India. But since the time I graduated from Chicago, I also had a chance to do a unique fellowship in women and heart disease, mostly preventive cardiology at Cedar Sinai. And I was still interested in cardiology then. So when I was applying and going round of interviews, my CV pretty much was like, I want to do more preventive. I want to do more preventive. They're like, why do you need a cardiology? Everybody's talking about intervention cardiology. Everybody's talking about nuclear medicine. But at that time, if I had, I mean, now, 15 years from then, now, we see cardiologists going back and doing lifestyle medicine. So kind of things have.
Bunch of
So I'm glad
oncologists also.
yes,
Oncologists are
everybody.
also
So I'm
doing it.
glad, I'm so happy where I am today. In the last, I've been in and out, mostly clinical practices in different private setting, academic setting, all, different. But in the last 5 years, after I had taken my obesity and lifestyle boards together, I'm like, I need to put it into practice. I'm very passionate about, I practice what I preach. And fortunately, in Morgan Hill, I had a great community who encouraged me, of patients, supported me that, doctor, we want you to implement this in a much bigger setup. I just started my own practice, and fortunately, BAS held me together during that because, I had no experience. So now I am running the BAS Obesity and Lifestyle Institute. What we have done in my clinic, we are applying to various BAS clinics. And in all along this time, we built such great community of resources, and we wanted people to learn the right way of doing this. And this is a beautiful field of medicine where I think any internist or any subspecialist, we want to grow more in this area versus feeling exhausted and burdened with the whole clinical aspect. That's where Shagun and I connect. We started talking about obesity practice and lifestyle implementation, and that's where Dr. Vaid too. And that's when we came up. Let's start Golden State Obesity Society. We need to find people the resources, population. We need to educate. It takes the whole community to build this ecosystem, and that's what we are hoping to do with Golden State Obesity Society.
Congratulate you starting a business in this present days nowadays. It is a challenging, but the congratulations for that. Let me ask the first question, and I'll let Susan join there after that. Dr. Bindlish, that is a diabetes is a world epidemic everywhere. Why do you think that is such a big epidemic? It became. It is all over the world. India is a epicenter of the diabetes. So what does he think is a lifestyle, or what are the causes he think? And then you tell me, we can come back to GSYS later on, but tell me a little bit about this, why this outbreak of this humongous problem that everybody is having in this world.
That's a wonderful question, Ramana. I really appreciate you bringing that. I think we are going, if we really go back, think about a big picture, the diabetes epidemic is growing. We have actually come across, if we really look back and see the world from past to now, we have like significant development with various medications, instruments, AI. We have so much of facilities, but still the epidemic of diabetes has been growing like globally. So it's also it is a multifactorial cause, and there is definitely lifestyle and environment plays a major role. Modern life has promoted sedentary behavior. We have ultra processed foods, sleep deprivation, chronic stress, constant screen time. All of those can worsen the insulin resistance. We have biological and genetic susceptibility, obesity, and metabolic health as another cause. And healthcare system itself is the biggest gap, where limited access to preventive care, screenings, and affordability to the medications is still a huge challenge. I do the advocacy work for American Diabetes Association as a scientific chair of Northern California chapter. And we are still fighting to make the insulin affordable in California. Why is that? Why are we doing that? Because this healthcare gap still does not understand the necessity and the uh, complications related to this disease, and lot of the and health equity is still a major challenge. So I really think that it is not from like, if we really put different aspects to it, I think we are still struggling to connect the dot or fill this gap from multiple perspectives. And even though we are bringing science forward, attitude, and the resources, we are still not able to fill that gap. So I think that's the reason. I can actually, it's my favorite topic, and I can go on for full 1 hour on this, but I really think that this is the major outline of why I think epidemic is still growing.
Yeah, well, I mean, the insulin takes center stage on this conversation, doesn't it? I mean, insulin is the big conversation in every one of your areas of expertise. Specifically, of course, well, with longevity, with obesity, with addiction medicine. I mean, insulin comes in there too. So on the insulin conversation being, you know what, like that, one more question for you, Dr. Bindlish, before I move on to Dr. Vaid. But my question to you would be, when it comes to insulin and diet, there's lots of conversations out there about plant-based versus carnivore. Is there anything that you're leaning towards as a team from your society that, as a whole, or as a physicians individually? Which would you lean towards? Keeping the insulin down, right? Carnivore will do it, but what's your thoughts?
That's a very interesting question, and I think there is no one right answer to it. It really very culture and the specific to how the people adapt to it. When we started learning about, so for many years I just practiced diabetology, and I saw, and I was in a sector where health equity was a major challenge, diverse set of population, Appalachian population actually in Ohio, and which are very high in has a high epidemic of diabetes. There, when I will talk about the diet, plant-based versus carnivore or any, when we talk about that, it does not help. Actually, it was not helping. Because it's actually, we have definitely come quite far from only thinking about the nutrition. Insulin itself, it's a hormone, and how it can vary and impact the patient population, or one set of patient population can vary differently. So if you will ask me, like, what will bring the insulin resistance down, carnivore versus plant-based diet, again, there is no right answer to it. It depends on which people and who is adapting. We cannot convert whole population into plant-based for sure. There will be a lot of people who still like to eat the meat and meat products. And definitely, if you think about ketogenic diet, people are getting high and heavy on the meat, and they're cutting down the other resources. So are they not, is their insulin resistance getting better? Yes, their insulin resistance does get better because they're not taking carb in any form. But when we think about the plant-based diet, it is very high, and high in fiber. It is good, and it has a lot of complex carbs. And but again, everybody's body will adapt or to that complex carb, and how they break down is very different, and also depends on what kind of diabetes they have and how long they have. So it with diabetes, I have learned a lot about the cultural difference with the diet, nutrition specifically, and it's definitely not one size fits all.
Yes, thank you so much. I mean, it all comes back to education, and that's also different for everybody. There's no one size fits all when it comes to diabetes, obesity, or addiction medicine. So, Dr. Vaid, when it comes to your specialty and your contribution to the obesity clinic itself, obesity and addiction medicine, those are kind of tough language. It's tough language. It's not easy to talk about. Is there certain language you guys are using unified in your new organization that maybe patients should be using or clinicians should be using? How are we talking about obesity and addiction medicine in 2025?
So definitely great question. There's always been this stigma, right? We have to look what other people want us to do, what the supermodel looks like. We don't want to say there's body shaming, right? We don't want to talk about addiction. So on our end, for addiction side, they have tried to shy away from using addiction. So when we talk about we call them use disorders. So it could be alcohol use disorder, it could be stimulant use disorder, or sedative use disorder. We'll use that often to describe the condition you have, because when we're using adjectives like you're overweight or you are an addict, the brain starts to get these signals where they start to associate, this is me, this is my identity, but that is not your identity. And we're really trying to shy away. You made a really good point. We actually had our CME conference, our first inaugural Golden State Obesity Society CME conference a week ago. And one of the things I said was that we shy away from saying that what's one size fits all, and we embrace what size fits you. And that's definitely the approach that we're trying to take, where we're looking at the individual, because what matters to me might not matter to you, right? So like Dr. Bindlish is talking about diet is so personal. If I were to tell you to stop doing this, you're not going to do it and you're going to fail. And our goal is to help you be on the path to sobriety or be on the path to success. So if I set you up in certain ways and don't do this, don't do that, and that's not something that's feasible for you, I have to change my plan. And we have to work together in this.
Yeah, and I think as soon as somebody says you can't have this or you can't do that, that's like diet failure 101, right? You can't have this, you can't do that.
That's the first thing we're going to try.
Dr.
Susan, I
Bindlish?
want to just add one line here. Actually, and it is such an important reason why Meenu is with us, because there is a lot of stigma about addiction word itself, like Meenu explained. But there is I think that a lot of time why we are not able to be successful is because we don't have an integrated team. We need a specialist like Meenu in our every conversation with every patient, because even food itself is an addiction. It is hard to understand and accept that fact, but what are we dealing with these days? Why are this obesity and diabetes is a growing epidemic? If you really think, it is not about the alcohol or about the other substance or substance abuse. It's food itself. So food itself can be a prevention and it can be an addiction. So that's the reason Meenu is with us, and I really feel that her role here and bringing her positive approach, has really helped us grow.
Yeah, so I just have to quick comment on that. What about GLP-1s for that very factor? There's so many people that are using the GLP-1s, not necessarily just for the weight loss, but to stop the food noise. Oh, I'm sorry.
Before you go to GLP-1, let me, Dr. Nalawadi should
Yes.
interfere here, because she knows. She's a South Indian like me. We like rice. You know, white rice is like a cocaine. She said that. Somebody said that to me. Tell us a little bit about this habits. But I heard a different thing from different people. Bindlish also probably eat a lot of rice, but we all eat rice.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
So, actually in the last few years, yes, there is a stigma, there is a language, the whole office has to learn to kind of the way you talk and all of those to welcome the ones who are in need, especially, young 18-year-old, 20-year-old with serious metabolic diseases. They won't even come to the doctors if you use the language of, you're fat or, things like that. So what we have seen is, it's just not the weight you're treating. You are treating a person as a whole, and you are assessing their metabolic health. So you could have, like an Asian, like Indians, we could have 25, 26 BMI and really be unhealthy metabolically. So what I tell people is, here is where we are. Yes, it's your total weight, but also what we are looking at is your metabolic health. Are you metabolically unhealthy, or are you metabolically healthy? And that's where you sit and write your goals and treatment and come up with a partnership plan. And that language actually in a clinic really works well for long-term partnership, identifying one at a time. It could be diabetes, it could be weight, it could be metabolic liver, fat, all of those things. And then you kind of do a year plan. If that, I feel, has been, and then when it comes to nutrition, Yes, I agree. Studies have again and again shown it's not exactly what obviously, there are some which are very high saturated fat, depending on the diseases we have to modify, but it's a consistency. It's a consistency of what you follow. Whatever you do, we still need a little bit of calorie deficit. No matter what you eat, we need high fiber. That has shown consistently. It helps you not only just with weight, but also helps you with various other metabolic conditions, including your liver, kidney. And then when we say everybody to change to plant, lifestyle medicine might be say, okay, it's best if you can adhere to 80% plant-based, but we are advocating more plant-forward diet. You could be eating a piece of steak, but we want to make sure your 50% of your plate is with veggies and fibers and stuff like that. That really goes far, and that's more practicable. And that's what we are trying to say. This is something that is you can adhere to, is more practical, and then you can continue for longer time, not just. And a word diet itself is also very conflicting sometimes. When you say people diet, I'm like, oh my God, diet. No, you're telling you are enhancing your nutrition. You're enriching and you're enhancing your nutrition to your metabolic state.
I agree. I always say diet is a 4-letter word, right? Like, keep it out. We don't need to be talking about a diet. It's a negative connotation that you're on a diet. It shouldn't be. Not when you're especially choosing a new lifestyle. So I do have a question for you guys. You did mention, Dr. Nalawadi, when you come in, they're coming in to the office, that you're going to do an assessment. I know in your recent conference, you had a colleague, I think that's introducing a new way to do a larger set of biomarkers. More than we're not going to, what's CBC is CMP anymore. What the heck does that mean? If you're lucky, you can get your primary care to order a cardiac profile, give you a little bit more.
I've been doing insurance-based practice. We'll also have to see how much more. The rest all are add-ons, but can we not deliver adequate care with what are all the resources you have through the insurance? No, you can. We can still do a lot. You can order an advanced lipid profile. You can order genetic testing if you have all of those. If there are, you can advance. You can monitor their CRP, insulin resistance. All of those are available, covered by most of the insurances, provided you give adequate information. Rest, yes, we do want to see if we can identify some of the other stresses much early enough, and all of those. That's where we are, that comes in more into longevity medicine, and that's what we are trying to see, which are those kits which can be added on. But can you not deliver the best with what we have right now? We can.
Yeah, well, it gives a wonderful bird's eye view. I think just because I'm interested in longevity and the precision medicine, the idea of having multiple biomarkers, and I believe it was a at-home urine test. Yeah. I found that fascinating. I'm something that we can do more than a yearly. We know how, all of our markers fluctuate based on whatever, name it, the moon and the stars, our sleep and our diet.
Susan, numbers speak, right? When you have markers that you can follow and track, like insulin resistance or inflammatory markers, or your metabolic biomarkers, inflammatory markers, because adiposity has thousands of markers as a stressor, right? Oxidative stressors. So if you have markers that you can track, then you know what direction you're doing. I'm going in the right direction. Am I doing the right thing? Those numbers do help. First, it's like an incentive for people to, hey, why should I get on track right now? Is it too late? Is it good? Is it, why should I do it now versus wait, right? One is that, and second, it gives you a track. It gives you a knowledge that self-knowledge and self-learning that whatever I'm doing is working. I'm tracking this. I feel those are the best way to utilize the markers. And why not, if it's easy, it is visible, and not have to go to the lab and all of those things.
Yeah, because prevention, right? Dr. Bindlish, were you just going to add to that?
Yeah, precision medicine is great and it's advancing at a rapid pace, but I would say that health equity and affordability is still a challenge. At American Diabetes Association, they have a pre-diabetes test, which is a 2-minute test based on ethnicity and basic questionnaire. If you just do it, you can at least tell your risk. For so many years, we were taught, or we were discussing, and a lot of our patients are taught that it is pre-diabetes, so it is like a borderline diabetes, and you don't have you don't have to do any changes in your lifestyle. Or and what happens is that after 1 year with no follow-up, we are seeing a lot of patients, these all patients are converting into diabetes. That awareness actually has much improved now, which I've seen in last practicing diabetology for so many years, that has significantly improved. But the thing is that it's still in the minority areas, and some of the areas it's not very common. So I just had a talk in India about gestational diabetes, and their approach is like, instead of one step, they do two steps. Sorry, we do two steps in US. In India, it is just one step for diagnosing gestational diabetes, because it's not feasible for with those patients to go to their physicians and get this two-step test done, and they are getting these diagnoses way early and doing the prevention. And there are a lot of interventions that has actually shown that their even one step has prevented some of the gestational diabetes. So actually, that was like really a big eye opener for me. That when I see that when you're comparing from urban setting to suburban setting, uh, how many people are able to afford, so who are going to use these biomarkers. And it's, when we think about the genetic factors, I do get a lot of patients who come and ask me about the genetic study. There is, they are seeing functional medicine, they are going to chat gpt, they are going to 100 resources, and when they come to you, they have like a list of markers. How many of these markers are really going to define your health? They don't understand that. It's causing more confusion and anxiety. So I think chasing those things, I would really still stick to the basics, that is more understandable and adaptable for the people. uh, until and unless it becomes accessible to everybody and it's easier, I think it is still, I would say that it's still a question about how much we should be
Dr.
using it.
Bindlish, I'm going to ask you, what do you think is something lacking in the American healthcare system? You said that all the metrics are confusing people. That I'm not sure about that, but you are saying that I trust you. But but what do you think of? What do you think there is lacking, and then there is a Golden State Obesity Society want to fill up that gap? Tell us where the gaps in the healthcare system, where you started this. What inspired you to start the Golden State Obesity Society?
So first of all, I would like to correct that I'm not blaming any of the healthcare system. Every healthcare system has its own challenges, and I think what as a physician, what we do is like being an advocate to connect all these dots and help the patients to our best possible way. And I think no system is the best. It is very culturally and patient specific, every population. So the reason I thought about this society was like, when I entered into this obesity medicine world and the lifestyle medicine world, I did actually understand that there are some gaps which are still to be filled, and that is actually, we can help from the physician and like healthcare providers also has different levels, and we can actually create a platform where everybody can combine together to help each other and integrate into one, to give the people resources. We also need the people from startups, from tech world, who are actually developing these new resources for helping with like going towards the longevity or improving the metabolic health. So what is the best way to connect these people? And not and California is a big state, and I just thought that it's very hard for us to meet. We are just such a small like group of physicians. When we talk and whenever we were meeting, everybody has their own ideas, and a lot of people connected with us to get help to even give the obesity medicine board or start the obesity medicine practice. Like, we have helped so many people. Then we thought that when we are doing it anyway, why not just combine everybody and bring. And I thought, for me, this origin was like, I wanted to have an integrated approach. And if you really see, our board has all the specialists together. It's not one. If we have like a wide different specialist in our board, like we also have a child psychiatrist, which I feel that it's so important for helping to prevent the childhood obesity. We have endocrinologists, we have Meenu as addiction specialist, we have lifestyle and obesity medicine, diabetes. Because like we just want to put all of this piece together, and that was the reason I think we we brought this platform.
And our
So-
aim is to bring not say one over the other. Our aim is to bring it's such a dynamic, this field is like changing. There is research every day, there is new data every day. So our duty or our responsibility from the society is to bring the best and the latest evidence to the people and share some resources, what we feel have worked and has some accountability and tracking records. Mm-hmm.
So on that note, I'm sorry, Dr. Vaid.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's okay. I was just going to say, I want to add that the board might be physicians, but our society is not just physicians. We have dietitians, we have clinicians, we have nurse practitioners, we have PAs. It's a mix of everything because as we're all the stuff we're talking about, the head is connected to the foot and the foot's connected to the hip bone, all that, the songs that we learned when we were little, right? It's all connected. And that's the whole purpose of us to come together and make it a multidisciplinary approach so we can get everybody to be on the same page and have that knowledge. Like I love to say that knowledge is medicine. And that's one of our biggest goals. We want to bring that awareness, educate. We have a whole teen youth ambassador committee. They do outreach. We've had some of our teens go to India and do outreaches in the rural and the urban areas there. We have our kids here going to the local schools and going to San Francisco, joining us in different aspects. Because we know it starts from when we're little. We have to start changing the way we see things from now. So by the time we get to longevity medicine, we already kind of have some good habits, right? So it's a great platform to get everybody to come together. And we can't read every journal. You want other people to tell us what's the latest in their field and what are you learning so we can all collaborate together and bring the best care there is to our patients.
The power is always in the connections and the relationships, no matter how you slice it, which is why I love this. I love this as you guys physicians. I love this as mothers and as people in the community, and your children have been involved, and you've already on this podcast we've talked about the pediatric side, the adult side. So you clearly have a whole lifelong practice to everybody, right? So you see peds. You said you had a pediatric psychologist. My question to you, Dr. Vaid, is not just because you're the treasurer, but how are you going to measure success and not just at the bank? You know what I mean? Like what are you tracking?
So one thing I'll tell you, we just are hitting our 1 year since we started. And I think we've come great strides. We've got several people who've joined us. We had our recent, like I was mentioning, our inaugural CME conference. We had some of the leading trailblazers in the fields. Dr. Lydia Alexander spoke. Dr. Aman Raj Gopal spoke. We had Dr. Dimpy Varm from Stanford. These are really well-spoken people, and they attracted a lot. We had Dr. Richard Schmidt, who talks about his journey and how he got off a medication just by changing his diet, and he went plant-based and he did so much research. But those are some of the successes I look at. And I look at the successes of how many people reached out to us after that. We've had webinars. I think at this time, Dr. Bindlish, we've done about 4 webinars in the last 1 year. And each time we've had outreach and more people are willing to join us. Those are, I think, how I measure success, that we have more people joining us in this crusade. And we're not those crazy women who decided to come up with this idea and see how it goes. And it's something to talk about when we're having tea. It's actually something that's gaining traction, and people are noticing that, I'm not just beauty, but I'm also a little bit of brains too.
Well, you know what? I love it because you guys literally are not only just talking the talk, you're walking the walk. I mean, like literally, isn't it? Is it you, Dr. Bindlish, or is it all of you with the walk with a doc? Isn't that something you guys are doing? What?
Yes.
So Suzanne, I think to put it together, what next, right? We have had youth, all over, who have taken us to next level. They are learning, they're educating their peers. We have not only that, we have added walk with the doc. We have bringing in community together. We are also hoping, like lifestyle component is one of them. Longevity, we are adding that. We're probably going to introduce culinary. So this field will grow. As long as there is medicine, our society, we are hoping, will grow.
Are you going to?
And I also want to mention that, Susan, we also, for me, another scalable role here is that we had sponsors and donations that we received that was from some of our patients. Actually, their trust in us, that when we are in the beginning stage is really huge, because they do trust us that we are going to make some difference. And I think our major initiative that, as Meenu mentioned about the youth ambassador program, when we see the kids participate with same energy and they spread the word, because we can go and talk to the school how much ever we want and half of the thing will go in their mind, but when their peers talk to them and see that how actively they're involved, and in our society, I think at the end, how many parents or all the doctors, they came and asked us like, how can we get our kids involved in this? I think that is a scalable approach, and I think that's the major satisfaction that
That
we
is
all
My
have.
mother
amazing.
has 6 sisters. The reason I'm disappearing is my mother told me whenever we talk, you just get out. So I'm getting out that because. But
So,
let me
Ramana,
I have one
there's
more
a
really quick.
question.
I just want to for these ladies
please
because
go ahead.
Dr. Bindlish just finished her sentence on scalability. And so you have to know, I have to ask, entrepreneurs don't usually ever think small. We think big. We think really big. This is not a moonshot. This is a loon shot. And when it's a loon shot, Golden State, okay, whatever, California, no offense, but I'm a little jelly out here. Are you guys thinking about scaling? I mean, just the youth alone across our country could benefit from this formula that you're putting together that's working. So what do you think, California?
Yep,
I
we
mean,
are here for consultation and growth, yeah, and support for and growth.
So, yeah, we already did this program in India, and you won't believe I already have uh, uh, other schools from Dubai and Malaysia already asking us to present. Now we are looking for the sponsors and funders to fund our project. This is our next thing. And entrepreneurs, if they are listening, I think this is a great platform. This is what we need now, that we want some support to our projects that we can scale here in the United States and across the globe. And I think that is what we want. We want our outreach to increase and spread and
It's
everywhere.
We
That's
also
important.
are a big advocate of only practicing and preaching evidence-based medicine.
The-
And I wanted to add that we didn't mention that we actually have a chapter in Bakersfield, and we're trying to expand and open other chapters as well. One of our board members, Dr. Anila Chedda, is actually leading the Bakersfield chapter. We have an interest from other areas, Central Valley, from Fresno, all of those areas that they want to lead chapters too. So those are part of the things that we're looking at into expanding. Walk with the Doc, we started here locally. We're also starting up towards Dublin and San Ramon, and we're trying to get where we do the walk simultaneously on the same day. But I want you to understand, with Walk with the Doc, that is us giving up our personal time to come and talk to the local community and just answer their questions. So where they feel like it's a comfortable environment, they're not worried about, oh, the white coat, they can ask questions that they don't get chance, because most appointments are only 10, 20 minutes. So that's one. We are also expanding and starting with GSOS and in collaboration with others, doing the Stanford Teen Lifestyle Program here locally in Morgan Hill. We're going to be spreading it also towards the Bay Area, towards where Dr. Bindlish is, where the teens will actually be taking the things that they're learning from us, and they will be passing on these lifestyle skills. As you know about the pillars, they will be teaching those on to their peers.
Ramana?
We are spreading, probably like the California wildfires. So.
Ramana, there was one thing you told about why is the system failing. The way
Dr.
I look-
Nalawadi, can you raise your camera a little bit? We can't see you a little bit. If you can, that's better. Yeah, thank you so much. Okay,
Yeah.
now it's more
So,
impactful.
the question about system, how many of us have the best of the best insurance? How many of us work for Google and all of this? We have all the resources possible, but we are still stuck. Why are we not doing better, right? That's where I feel it's as much as we want to correct all the system, that's where we have to come together. Individual responsibility and accountability is very, very important. Yes, life is full of demands and stressors and all of those things, but we want to create an environment. We want to find a partnership that we can do with you and find those tools that you can be advocate for your own health and own your own health.
Well, and I'll always have one more thing to say, so we're never at a loss. But Dr. Bindlish, to connect that, Dr. Nalawadi, Dr. Bindlish, I think it goes back to the less is more, like you said, the basics. I mean, when you're doing a movement like you guys are across the lifespan, it's really about the basics. And I think right now in this crazy world of innovation, everyone has another tool, a wearable, this, that, the other. My gosh, can we talk about a fruit, a lettuce, a walk? I mean, this is really
So
what you're doing is very heart-centered. It's very human-centered care, and it's very, very inspiring and just admirable. So
when
it's very exciting.
I
I
think,
see my, go ahead.
go ahead, Dr. Nalawadi.
I'm
When
Please
I
finish
see my
that.
patients monthly for weight loss, there are some who are older and just using the paper and pen and writing down. There are some who are using fancy tools. As long as they're doing it, whatever way works for them, it's a consistency and monitoring. That's what is needed. And both of them will show the same results.
Yeah, let me talk.
But I have
Let me talk with
actually,
all of you. One more thing before I forget is that social media is a big challenge. And Meenu was talking about all the times about that is a true addiction that is causing the body shame, all those other
Mhm.
complications coming out. What do you think of that? How do you address that? Where is this problem? Is not only addiction problem, it's an addiction, in fact, isn't it? There's no other meaning to it, other definition to it. Tell us a little bit, Dr. Vaid, and then the other people can comment on how the lifestyle can incorporate not become that social media. They only listen to what other girls doing. Particularly girls have a lot of impact on their body and all those things. Can you comment on that, Dr. Vaid?
Mhm.
So, social media is definitely one of our biggest downfalls, I feel, for our current generations. It's difficult. But I think at the same time, it's amazing. It's just trying to channel it to the right side. What are you listening to? Are you listening to people who actually know what they're talking about versus someone who's just trying the latest fad? And if I'm going to go look at TikTok, there's great physicians with great specialties who have great information out there. But then at the same time, we're going to have the ones who take advantage of the people, and they'll try to say, hey, you got to try this new lip gloss, or you need to try this new diet, and that's going to make you lose 15 pounds over a weekend. I think it starts with making their connections stronger, right? That's where the lifestyle aspect comes in, when we're talking about social connections. We want to make them, I do teen mentoring, as we've talked about in the past, where you're actually trying to talk to the teens, find out what are they struggling with? What are they going through? Why are they listening to this? What is missing? Usually when we turn to social media, it's because something's missing. Do I need an answer for something that I have doubt in myself? How do I increase my self-worth? When we do that, is everything at home good? We just have, like you were mentioning, Susan, we got to go back to the basics. Like, is everything at home good? Can I talk to my parents about certain things, or are certain things taboo? You know what, for us culturally, did you ever talk to your parents about sex? Did we ever talk about those kind of things? Now I can tell you that kids will come and talk to families as long as you make that supportive environment. Then even the schools are trying to do their part, where they're trying to bring a lot of this education into the system. My kids, their school actually brought in a lot about different ways of communication, toxic boundaries, what to look for. I think those are just the beginning. The more we educate them and show them that it's okay for them to come out and talk, those make a big difference. And then we can shy away from worrying about those effects.
So that makes me think of it as a nurse, that there's nothing I like more than mentoring. So I'd like to just say right now that I would love to mentor in your network if needed. And also I have an army of nurses behind me that would support your Loonshot team. So somehow think about
Awesome.
that. We have a whole group of innovators, bedside, you name it. The nurses would mentor any age group, really. So just food for thought.
Congratulations, you got a
Absolutely.
powerful woman
Yeah,
behind you
that would
now.
be great.
So,
It's one
Dr.
mission.
And I want to answer your question
Sorry.
to Mr. Ramna about the rice. So I'm from Delhi. I love rice, but I don't eat it every day. But uh, the only thing is I see diverse set of patient population. So I came across this, and now like my patients come with the plate and they talk to me about like rice, like how much I should eat. And so I told them that take rice from your centerpiece and put it on the side piece. And once you move it towards the side piece, your portion will decrease, but you are not losing something that you like. And we can always replace it with other things. But definitely, we have to accept the fact that we have to rice has a higher glycemic index, and if you really have diabetes, it definitely makes a huge difference. And CGM has actually helped. So, talking about the tools, we see a very good aspect of the tools, but I have also seen these tools has brought a lot of anxiety and mental health issues in people. You wear the watch, you're tracking the watch all the time, and half of the people I have seen got palpitations because of the watch, because they're constantly looking at that. So I literally, I for one patient, my treatment was to for 1 week you will stay without the watch. And guess what? That was the best medicine for him. He didn't need, and he came after like prescriptions of palpitations, like 100 medications. So I just tell you that the tools, and we have to again think about old school. We were really good without the technology too, but again, we need the technology for sure. But as long as it gives you mental sanity as well, we have to use it wisely.
Studies have shown, yes, tools do help certain extents. They've probably increased some of your steps. There's probably some of your movement, but long term, it's you, your habits that you have to develop. Whether you use these tools to get to that a little bit, or no, you can do it with the help of a coach and do that. That's something each one has to partner and decide.
Okay, that's hold on 1 second. I'm going to present a topic on a woman who introduced and who inspired millions of teens. I'm going to talk a lot of young people, high school students. They really changed the world. I'm going to present a topic on that. After that, we come back and talk about Golden State Obesity Society, how they can reach you, and where the corporations can do with you, or schools or corporations that can do with you. So let me bring that topic. It's just a very 10 minutes topic, 12 minutes, but it's very useful for you. It's very interesting topic. I'm going to talk about the Teruko Mizushima. She is a Japanese woman. She came in 1939 to study medicine in Nebraska. She came to study medicine to the United States in 1939 from Japan, Osaka. So that she became that she what she was that she didn't study medicine. She went to, because her English is a problem for her, and she studied sewing. Okay, so that oh no, what happened? This is, yeah. So yeah, so that's so she studied not a medicine. Sewing is the biggest thing in 1939. I didn't know that, but that was the biggest study to study. So I am trying to move. Okay. So, but she wrote when she went back to Japan, and she wrote an article, "Woman's Idea for the Creation of a New Life." She's talking about women are in Japan, is people didn't know that they are very much is all over the world. Women suffered quite a bit. They caring for children, staying in kitchen, cleaning, in entire thing. But she's doing all these things. She's exhausted. So she wanted a new life. She studied in America, so she wanted to do woman's idea. She wrote this article in the magazine in 1950, and then it really created a lot of a stir in the Japanese public. And then she became a little bit popular after that. She became a social commentator. She introduced a very powerful concept. It's called Feriokipo. That my friend Ram is there. I'll tell you Japanese. He's half Japanese. He's going to talk a little bit about with him. But Feriokipo is a caring relationship tickets. She introduced a new concept. It's called time is the most valuable currency. So volunteer labor bank. She started a volunteer labor bank. She started in 1970. She started a bank. That's a bank is not, you don't deposit money. You don't deposit cash. You deposit the time you help other people. Very strange concept. So this is came from a Japanese traditions. So he changed it at that time. Elderly care has no insurance. Nobody there. They really lost Japan. Japan doesn't have any. It's a big problem with elderly care. So that's what she did, was she introduced this time banking, and all the young people go there, serve their time. Somebody go there, give the same time, not the same person, but different person come down there, maybe teach calculus for her or other thing. So they exchange the time, equal time. It is a very, very powerful concept she introduced in the. So that time bank became a huge hit in the world. United States is a 480 time banks they have now. Worldwide, about more than 1,000 time banks. In Bay Area, there is a one time bank called base.org. Okay, so you need to check it out, because they can be volunteers. You can get a lot of volunteers to do a lot of work for you, this kind of inspirational things. These are the thing. What do you solve with the time banking? One of the in the this is a one of the thing in India they solve the problem is, there's India, there's a time banking is there. One of the thing is these elderly places that they did service to humanity is service to God. There's a Hindu saying is Manava Seva is a Madhava Seva. It is one of the thing very popular, hymn, that is that the slogan that is really cut up. There's a time banking related to time banking. That is a story. India has a lot of time banks now. So this new concept is economic sphere. They brought into the social sphere, combine them together, thinking of money through time. She's an entrepreneur like you, all of women. So she came up with a different methodology and time as a money. That's what she did. So what she did was she really, one of the things in the United States you can solve is the loneliness is the biggest epidemic that we have in this country. So you can put these young people, you can go there and spend time there. They can deposit that time in the bank, time bank, like ATM machine. That time they may need something else. They may need a tutoring. They may need a membership of something. That's all those things can be done. So it is a time exchange is a beautiful idea. So in the rural transportation there is no ride shares in the small towns. One of the surgeon in Alabama was complaining that he had a surgery ready and the outpatient surgery, but the patient didn't show up because she doesn't have transportation. So in the rural areas there is no Uber or Lyft. So what do? So they need to really, rural transportation has to be coordinated with this kind of a time banking system. The neighbor could help and bring them, and then they get the time. They can adopt this time banking idea is hospitals, health plans, rural clinics, universities, coffee shops, NGOs. They all can adopt this time banking system, even GSOS. So they can volunteer time. These kids can do volunteer time. It's a very easy to adopt. Now, crypto is got into this one. This is actually currency. Crypto time is a time bank in New York, is a time New York. New time new bank is in New York. It's become a cryptocurrency. You can exchange the crypto time. It's very interesting and cryptocurrency. So the blockchain technology, all of them are implemented the time banking. With the time banking, one of the things all doctors and nurses complain about it is uncompensated hours. They do all the administrative work, they hate it, and they don't get paid for that. So what they are saying, some of the health plans are the hospitals are incorporating these uncompensated hours with the time banking. So fellow nurse can cover for you or you cover for them, whatever it is. That exchange of the time is a time banking is a very powerful idea. So the burnout can be it can reduce the burnout problem in that sense. Time banking is a powerful idea. So you can do time banking as cost to the doctor. You can bring them as the small rural areas. Prescription pickups. These kids can go there and pick up the prescription, grocery shopping, in-home and phone visits, alterations, minor home repairs. All of them are they can social support system. With America is getting older and older, and Japan is much older already, and India is going to be in 20 years from now is going to be the oldest country in the world. So we are going to have a lot of problems. So we need to get ready for this time banking concept is the only way, because there is no economic system can address that. So Teruko Mijishima, she died in 1996. She lived at 76 years old. She won the Japanese highest prize award at time as a pioneer trader. She's a trader, actually stock trader, but she's trading the time. The time as a currency. So she won the Yvonne Prize, time banking. She died in 1996. She really did a greatest things. And there is a one woman that I met in Oak Ridge, Tennessee. I'm going to bring my friend Ramu Puluri to the table. This is a 90 years old. She is a Oak Ridge. She married an Indian. The last name is funny. That is Ramu Puluri. Puluri is from Andhra Pradesh, from close to my area. So that, she did this is a time banking without knowing that she did the time banking. Let me bring the Ramu Puluri, and then just for a couple of minutes talk with him. After that, I bring all of them back. Can you bring Ram to the? Yeah. Hey Ram, thank you so much for joining us. I met your mother. 90-year-old. I went to 90 years birthday for your mother's birthday. So tell us, you're half Indian, half Japanese. Tell us your experience, that concept of serving. It is so embedded in particularly in Japanese culture. Your mother, after the Second World War, she came to Oak Ridge, Tennessee. She put the peace bell. She initiated the peace bell. Tell us that concept of the time banking. Time is not exactly time banking, but she did that service to the humanity, and they created peace. Thank you for joining. Go ahead. I can't hear you, Ram. We can't hear you.
You're muted.
Oh, thank you. I'll try to be brief. I was enjoying the previous discussion. I hope you guys can get back to talking about something that I can learn from. But anyway, I'm here in Oak Ridge, Tennessee, and my mother passed away in 2023. And I have been here kind of taking care of her house and also her legacy in this town of Oak Ridge, where I grew up. And I moved away, and I was living most of my career in Washington, D.C. But I came back here a few years ago to take care of her, and I've stayed and taking advantage, I guess, of all of her strong relationships that she built up over, I guess, close to 60 years of living in this town in eastern Tennessee. After she came here from Kyoto, Japan. And, she met my father, who was from Andhra Pradesh, at Indiana University in graduate school in the late 50s. And then he joined the staff at Oak Ridge National Laboratory in 1963 as a research scientist. And, Oak Ridge was the birthplace of the Manhattan Project during the Second World War. And the technical accomplishment, it was mentioned in that movie Oppenheimer that came out a couple years ago. They enriched the uranium that went into the Hiroshima bomb, and that ended World War II. I mean, the Hiroshima bomb and the Nagasaki bomb was a plutonium bomb, and the plutonium was produced at Hanford, Washington, and Los Alamos, of course, was the Manhattan Project site that did most of the technical work, that is, and then all a top secret project. This town of Oak Ridge was also a secret city. Nobody knew what was going on. Even the people who worked here didn't know what they were working on during that time of the war. And at the end of the war, the town continued its scientific mission, and it became sort of a leading center of nuclear research. They developed, the science and technology of radioisotopes and their use in medicine was developed here, and a lot of nuclear energy reactor technology was developed here. Early nuclear navy was kind of developed here. A lot of genetics and research was performed here. Health physics, the effects of radiation and other environmental toxins on the human genome. All of that was researched heavily here. And my father joined the staff of the National Laboratory in 1963 as a mathematical statistician. And my mother was, very involved in the community, as most of our families were. We grew up in, it almost felt like a kind of a utopian kind of place to grow up. People from all over the world and all over the country had migrated to this place to pursue their careers. And it was kind of a cross between a government town, a government research town, and a little bit of a military base in a way. I mean, it's a very mission-oriented kind of community. And, the experience of being an international family in a scientific community that viewed its role as kind of an international resource, a resource that was available to the outside world in this area of nuclear science and technology, but had also given birth to this this incredibly horrific technology of nuclear weapons, you know, and living with the idea that science was a double-edged sword, you know, that it could produce weapons of mass destruction. It could also produce isotopes to cure cancer. That
Ram,
it
yeah,
could be evil and that it could be great.
yeah.
Was a knife's edge that everybody that grew up in this community, we danced on that knife's edge. And I think my mom's major role here was to contribute to this idea of international peace and understanding among all peoples of the world. And their project was called the International Friendship Bell, which is an 8,000-pound Japanese temple bell that hangs in our municipal park in downtown Oak Ridge as a symbol of peace and, you know, obviously hope for peaceful applications of science and technology and international cooperation in the future. And it was very interesting to be a part of an expression of international peace and hope in a town that had given birth to, you know, nuclear weapons, and still makes a good part of its living maintaining and producing nuclear weapons.
Thank you so much, Ram. And let me, you know, I was at your mother's 90th birthday. She wanted talk about longevity. She wants to drop me at the airport. You know, she wants to drive me to the airport. She's amazing. You know, another reason you may be useful for this GSOS. Ram is an attorney. You know, he's a very highly qualified attorney, but he doesn't practice anymore. But he does advocacy. He spent a lot of years in Washington D.C. He spent, you know, you can give some input for this Golden State Obesity Society advocacy. Maybe you can help them a little bit or channel this. How do you do with the federal government and the local governments? And you have an extraordinary experience in advocacy area. What do you think of particularly now they adopting all this lifestyle medicine and then you're also doing some yoga and meditation, all these things. You think that advocacy for this kind of a groups, how do you address that in overall? That one of the things that you may be helping, you can help them in the longer run probably. But just give a couple of minutes, 1 minute of your idea about that.
I mean, everything is up in the air right now. I mean, I've never seen the situation sort of like it is today. You doctors know more about it than I do, but obviously RFK Jr. and Donald Trump are significant disruptive forces, you know, and maybe that's good and maybe that's bad in many ways. You know, it questions a lot of the assumptions that we've rested on. My son is interested in going into politics and policy. He was asking me the other day, how do I go into public policy? And I said, you know, policy right now is not being made. There is no policy. Policy requires kind of functional, you know, deliberative process, and that's not where we are right now. That's my sense, that we're going through a very disruptive phase, and maybe this is a good time for experimental, new approaches, new ideas. Maybe there's a openness, a sense of possibilities in this disruptive time that we're going through that, I mean, might offer some hope and some promise for alternative thinking, alternative medicines, alternative foods, alternative approaches to chronic conditions such as diabetes. My father was a diabetic, and I know how insidious that particular disease is. It preys on your weaknesses, and he had them. He had weaknesses, you know. He kept his stash of Fig Newtons hidden around the house, you know. And so diabetes is a very insidious condition, and it preys on a person's weaknesses. I hope that you will be successful in finding alternative approaches to changing people's lifestyles and helping them to extend their their life and their quality of life, you know.
Ram, the question I have for you is advocacy of the local level, city level, and the state level. What can you do that? What they can do? The Golden State just organization like a Golden State Obesity Society.
What I was thinking is maybe we should learn about time banking some mentor hours for the obesity society. Wouldn't that
Yeah,
be cool?
excuse me, just one second. I'm listening. But go ahead, keep going.
But anyway, let me talk with you, Shagun, Dr. Bindlish. Tell us that the advocacy that you're doing, you can really guide you. He has a 20, 30 years experience in advocacy area in the government level. He was running a schools district in the Washington, D.C. Then he was a lawyer for them, and there he is coordinating all those things. But anyway, let us go back to your original.
Let me give you one interesting example of time banking. There was the American father of time banking was a guy named Edgar Kahn, and he was a professor at the University of the District of Columbia School of Law. It was called the Antioch School of Law when it was founded, and then they within the last, I guess, 20 years, they changed the name of it to the UDC, University of District of Columbia. And he was sort of the American founder of the idea of time banking. And I was working in the early 2000s, mid 2000s. I was working in the area of juvenile justice reform and youth violence prevention efforts, you know, reconnecting disconnected youth, you know. And we didn't even have to deal with cell phones that much. This was disconnected basically as a result of growing up in poverty and in low functioning neighborhoods and communities and low performing schools, you know, which many had dropped out of and were, you know, were deep in the system by the time they were teenagers. And Edgar Kahn introduced a concept called the time dollar youth court. And the idea was that if a kid got caught up in the juvenile justice system, they could get diverted to the time dollar youth court. And in the time dollar youth court, you owed time. That was the thing. And there were certain ways that you could pay that time. And one of the ways that you could pay that time was to sit on the jury or otherwise participate in a youth court that was set up by the UDC School of Law. For certain types of cases where a young person was eligible to be diverted from the criminal justice system or the youth family justice system, family court system, they would get diverted to this youth court system. And they would go to the youth court system, and the youth court system, the other kids that were paying off their time obligation would sit on juries. They would sit as judges, as attorneys, as court reporters. They would staff a court with their volunteer time. So they would give back to the idea of performing justice for other kids that were entering into the system. And a lot of times what they would do is they would hand out sentences of, okay, well, you owe 50 hours of time to the youth court system because I'm about to graduate from my obligation. I'm about to leave the system. And new kids that came into the system would be, in a way, responsible for the other kids that were coming up behind them into the system. What is the thing that you would like them to do? Spend time talking to the victim, perhaps. Spend time in doing some community service. Spend time in some way rebuilding your credit with the community that you had violated in some way by the crime that you had committed, whether it was your school or your family or your community. The time dollar youth court meted out justice in the form of time, you know, and that was a really kind of an interesting blend of this time banking system and the juvenile justice system that was trying to connect kids to each other, to their families, and to their communities.
Thank you, Ram. Let Meenu Vaid comment on that, and all three can comment on. Start with the Meenu Vaid, Dr. Vaid. She is involved in the correctional system a little bit, and then how you can GSOS connected. They all look different, but they're all connected in such a way that you can connect them together. It's a good. Start with Dr. Vaid. Go ahead.
So I feel like, Ram, you were kind of talking like a contingency management type of thing. You do this and you get this in return. And that has actually been, studies have shown, if even in my field, if we give people like, hey, you need to come to these appointments. If you come to the appointment, we'll help get you bus fare to come to the appointments. And I think that's part of the thing as GSOS, or anything that we do, right? Anytime you try to have somebody do something or join you in something, first thing they're going to ask is, what's in it for me?
Yeah.
What am I going to get out of it? So we always have to be ready to answer what you benefit from. That's human nature. We want to know what's the benefit to me, even though we talk about being selfless and, providing all this, but we do have to show what's the benefit. So if in GSOS, like I said, we would be educating and providing that education, empowering you with the latest technology, the latest in what treatments we do, and how we can do outreach and what other benefits in general, right? Their studies show that people feel better when they give rather than they take. So we're giving you that chance to feel better.
Dr. Bindlish, go ahead. Just overall, this program, how is GSOS? Just you need to tell a powerful story. A story is important for there is I have like hundreds of lifestyle medicine doctors came on my show and all, but the people that stand out for me are the people who tell me the stories. They're always powerful. Okay, so I think that is the important one, rather than that is the one thing that you stand for the ideals. Where are you really doing an impact in the society? That's kind of a thing. You need to start a movement. It is already a movement, as you said, Doctor. It is a movement, and explain to me how GSOS can be a movement and inspire the next generation of people.
So GSOS is,
Go
sorry,
ahead.
can
Yeah.
you hear me okay? Oh, so I think this is such a good question, and I think it will be a great wrap up as well. I think GSOS, the basic foundation was to start from taking away the stigma, because stigma is often the invisible weight that everyone carries. It's like it does not depend on the age, and it silences them before they even. It silences every person even before they like uh, at any walk of their life. And we know people delay care, they skip appointments, they suffer in silence because they feel that they have been judged. They have been judged about their weight, their diagnosis, their struggles, and they don't have any way out where to go and say. And even to come to a physician and talk about their health is very difficult usually for some patients. So at GOS, actually, we believe that compassion and empathy is the biggest clinical tool, and we try to train, and every person who gets connected to us, or I think I will not use the word train, I think we collaborate, whether it is a youth ambassador or it's a clinician, and to first use the language that heals, that not harms. And we also advocate for stigma free care, and that basically recognizes the obesity and diabetes as medical conditions and not moral failings. I also do not want them to emphasize on the scale or any numbers particularly, but it's very important to understand the overall picture of health. We model compassion by meeting everybody, and our ultimate goal is to give to spread that compassion to the patients in whichever settings we are seeing, and acknowledging everyone's challenges, respect their stories, partner with them rather than prescribing just from the pedestal. So stigma free culture does not just improve trust, it actually improves outcomes. So I think that's what is our foundation, and that's what is our message.
Yes, well said, and I agree. It's a wonderful place to wrap it up. And I think the language is very important. We've used a lot of language this evening around use, use of collaboratory efforts, use of your neighbors, use of your feet walking. We used a lot of words about use to get rid of that stigma. No one wants obesity is a tough word. Addiction is a tough word. Longevity, lifestyle medicine, partnerships, collaboration. We're all in this together. So I thank you so very much for that wonderful wrap up. Thank you all so very much. Ramana, are you coming back out, or are we saying goodnight? Anybody else have anything in closing they want to add? Because how do we get a hold of you when we're someone like me in Florida? But I know you guys are all over California. And by the way, congratulations on your conference. I know it was a success. I believe you guys were sold out. And also a measure of your success. We asked that question earlier. But I think the satellite offices and the other places that you guys are expanding throughout California, huge success. Overseas in India, huge success. So I wish you all more success. And please let's talk more maybe another time about our mentor bank, our nursing mentor bank, so that my community can feed into yours.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for the chance and it's an honor to be present today. I think we didn't even touch the GLP-1 and had a great conversation. I think
It's a topic that
that itself is such a
Maybe
it's a topic.
I
Yeah,
love
I think
yeah.
just about that.
yeah, that the lifestyle pillars. There's so much. This is just I feel like a short narration of all aspects. Yes.
But with all,
Yeah. We just touched the
for sure.
We'll have to
That's
come
what I was
back.
going to say when we started, I'm like, where are we going to go with this conversation? Because there's so many places we can go. Just individually, your expertises, and then, but honestly, I think we wrapped it around all the way around and back to the center. Less is more. Heart-centered. Involve the youth. Mentor. Give back, be kind. Go outside and take a walk. Take a walk. And by the way, I have to say how cool that is. That is such a personal way to meet your neighbors, to meet your colleagues. And it's, no white coats. We're in workout stuff and we're going for a walk. That's real humanity connection. So
I'm sorry for my dogs.
We are retelling their stories through our patented designs that can be worn on scrubs, t-shirts, printed on conference bags, and endless other promotional materials. Daily Wear for Medicine is the first ever of its kind to create curiosity in medicine through visual art. We at MedBricks are celebrating unsung heroes of the past who made enormous contributions to the field of medicine through our unique campaign called Daily Wear for Medicine. You can wear it, carry it, and give it